I got you loud and clear. I can't see your screen yet, but I can see your face and your leopard.
There we go. There we go. Awesome. Thank you so much for the introduction, Quinn. I really appreciate it. So just to quickly just bounce my own opinion off this, I'd just like to thank everyone as well for joining this afternoon and tuning in and actually making this webinar series possible. I'd also just like to thank my technical team for giving me this opportunity to share some valuable info, and I trust it can just make you guys quicker, better, stronger when it comes to weldment design. So for this afternoon, guys, we'll basically be looking at two main categories. I'll start off by explaining the structural system feature, and this is specifically a feature that comes available when you look at the Weldments environment. It is not part of the Weldments tab. I'll bounce into the details as we go along. I just want to make you all aware that structural systems are basically a separate weldment environment apart from the Weldment tab that we all know quite well. So to bounce right into it, guys, or to jump right into it this afternoon, I'm going to just run through a couple of slides as a simple introduction and just give you guys some context. Please park this information in the back of your mind. Once I jump into SOLIDWORKS, you will all see what I'm on about. So as a simple introduction, this Weldments Structure tool was introduced in SOLIDWORKS 2019. So this amazing time-saving tool has been available in weldments to take care of very complex structures. And usually your very large, very big structures become quite complex due to the amount of structural members you actually have, and then obviously the corner blends become a headache on its own. That's why they've introduced a tool like this. So as you guys will notice, as I said, the structural systems is basically a separate directory. It is not part of the Weldment tab. You guys will notice the Weldment tab inside of SOLIDWORKS is something on its complete own when looking at this feature. So it enables users to create weldments by using very simple geometry like planes, axes, any sketch geometry like points or even simple lines can be used. And this saves us the time instead of running through very complex 3D sketches or having to create multiple corner treatment features. This is definitely the answer to you. So moving over to the, once you've actually accessed the feature, you guys will notice there's quite a couple of features that come alive. The first one you're going to encounter will be the actual primary members that you assign. Once we've got the primary members, you can move over to the secondary members and then take care of a couple of corner treatments. So this specific structure feature is an advanced weldments environment that lets you create structural members of different profiles in one feature. Now, what that sentence basically means, guys, is that with the normal, usual weldment design workflow, this is using normal weldment features, you basically have to assign one profile per structural member feature inside of a normal weldments environment. This feature, on the other hand, allows you to have one feature controlling many other profiles in one place. So the structure system comprises primary and secondary members together. We basically start by building the primary members first and then assigning the secondary members between them or using them as reference. We move over to the design workflow consisting of the actual secondary members. So just something you guys will have a look at in a moment is the secondary member feature property managers are actually present here at the bottom. And just to show you guys real quick, they say, or just to state this real quick, they state to us, we basically define the secondary members by selecting a supporting plane or two primary members, or by simply clicking, as they state there, on the primary members. Now, what this means is we've either got the choice of using planes or points to assign these secondary members in. As I said, guys, just park this info in the back of your mind as a bit of reference. It all will make a lot more sense once we jump into SOLIDWORKS. So basically, once we've done assigning or finished assigning these primary members, the software opens what we call the corner management tool, and this tool kicks in automatically. This property manager basically allows you to update your weldment structures if any changes in order. So whether you change the actual profile or the sketch segment or reference hosting the profile, the corner management tool will take care of that for you in the background automatically. No need to go and do quite a couple of manual edits anymore. Some of the design capabilities you can expect within the actual structural system feature. And I'll be focusing specifically on this slide on the corner management, as I just mentioned to you guys. this specific structural system feature is a 3-step or 3-stage process. Just zoning our scope into the corner management that kicks in at the end of the process. This basically, just to cover this, they state to us, when we create the structural system for the first time, this corner management tool opens automatically. This property manager basically groups all of our corners together. As you guys can see on the bottom right here of my page, we basically deal with 3 directories: the simple corners, your 2-member corners, and obviously the more complex ones. I've tried to get you guys a couple of pictures. This would be a good example of the complex corners that it goes and creates for us. This can be a simple or a 2-corner or 2-member blend, and obviously this one as well. So as I mentioned to you guys, there's 3 main areas which basically the software groups all of my different corners together, and all of this is done automatically, guys. Just to carry a bit further down the corner management rabbit hole, I just want to introduce you guys to a couple of settings and some options that exist within these features. So in the graphics area, each green handle on the model represents a grouped corner. I'll show you guys in a moment what this is all about. They basically just state to us that the software graphically shows us all our nodes and points very, very nicely in color codes. So there's never the issue of what corner rests in which group. Moving over to a bit more finer details, guys, the corner groups are basically listed and can be trimmed accordingly. I just want to make all of you guys aware of the fact that the information we see present in this little group area cannot be removed. So the software compiles this automatically. I cannot really go and add and remove as I feel like. Some of these settings you're going to encounter just to change a couple of blending styles, if I can use those couple of words. Some of the miter trim and planet trim types are very powerful tools, and it's just a couple of settings and checkboxes that go along with them to control how your primary and secondary members all blend together. Some of the design capabilities that you guys can also expect as a whole within this structural system environment is listed below. So I've gone and compiled all the tools available within this structural system environment. The first thing you're going to do is obviously create your structural system. And this is going to be basically kicked off by actually clicking on a feature to start this entire 3-step process. Then we're going to assign the primary members. We'll move over then to assign our secondary members. Once those members have been assigned, like I just mentioned, the corner management kicks in automatically to take care of a couple of corner blends for me. And then we've got additional features also available in this environment. Some of them are actually new in 2021, like the predefined pierce point in a profile, which is now available since 2021. And this just allows us guys to go and add our own amount of sketch segments or entities to our profiles. You guys can clearly see the pictures. I just tried to get a couple of examples of what this feature can actually enable you guys to do. So without further ado, I'm just going to run a quick poll, and then I'll jump straight into SOLIDWORKS to demonstrate everything I just showed you guys. So as I said, guys, please just quickly have a look at that poll for me. If you guys can just take a couple of seconds and answer that, just for us to get a bit of feedback. I hope this structural system is something you guys have looked at before. It's immensely powerful, specifically for a couple of weldment designs. It's quite cut and dry. I like the fact that some of you have looked at it. The bigger majority of the guys looks like they have not seen it. I'll just give a couple of more seconds. Oh, that's great. So it looks like about 10% of the attendees today have never heard of structural member, and I'm so happy you guys could have joined us this afternoon. Just to enlighten you guys a bit and add a couple of more tools in your toolbox. So thanks for that, guys. Appreciate it. Cool. So let's jump into SOLIDWORKS and see what this feature is all about. So for this afternoon, guys, this is basically where I'm going to be ending up with. So just to confirm you all with me, this is the actual profile I'm going to be building in a couple of minutes. So just to make you all aware, you can see this is quite a large profile. Obviously, some circular patterns have been used just to speed up some of the geometry that's required. But I'd like to emphasize on the fact that you guys will see in a moment how quick and easy this feature really, really is. Once you spend a bit of time in it, you should be able to create all kinds of complex structures. So all I'm basically going to be using this afternoon, or to start off with, is these couple of entities. And what you guys are looking at is a couple of points. You'll notice I've got a sketch here called footprint, just hosting literally 2 points. I've got another sketch up here, which will only be used for directional purposes. And I've got an axis in some planes. So as I mentioned at the beginning, guys, this feature only requires a couple of sketch points and reference geometry like planes and axes. No need for very complex 3D sketches. No need for very, very complex corner blends and manual trim and extend features being used. So the first thing you're going to do is just simply right-click anywhere in this top gray area, go to your tabs, and make sure to go and put the actual structural system tab on, basically bringing it to life. As I said to you guys before, please bear in mind that the Weldments tab is completely separate from the one being demonstrated this afternoon. So the structural system basically has got its own directory. As you guys will notice, I start things off by clicking on the structural system option. It basically brings to life the structural system environment. And as soon as I'm inside of that environment, I can start by assigning my primary members. So for this afternoon, you guys will notice I've got quite a couple of member types or the options available, and this has got to do with the reference geometry I'll be using to create my primary members. So we've got the old-fashioned line segments. Just to show you guys a very quick example, this is very similar to the normal weldment functionality. This is now only a setting within the structural system. Then we've moved over to the planes, where I can select things like planes and axes as reference. The point option is quite powerful in the sense that there's quite a couple of end conditions that go with this feature. So as you guys can see, for example, I will be selecting these 2 points over here, and you'll notice the software being able to add a actual distance on those points, using them as positioning. Moving over to the normal point option, you guys will see that if I just select these 2 sketch points, it basically creates the members between the selected points. You always see a little chain symbol appear here on the side. If I enable that, I'm able to build a couple of profiles between selected entities. And I'll select the same points and an additional one just to show you guys the kind of chaining effect going on. And please bear in mind, I'm only clicking on sketch points. To further this a bit, or just to demonstrate some of the available options, we can use something like the up to point option. And this is also quite powerful in the sense that I'm selecting 2 points, and the up to point option will be this one here right at the top. You guys can see the software actually blend those members quite nicely together. Again, guys, I am only using sketch points. There's no sketches or 3D sketches involved. There's no actual hard lines or anything like that present. So for this afternoon, we will be looking at the up to plane end condition. And this is quite lovely. It allows me to just select the plane, and you guys will notice the points are used as position, and the plane is actually used as the end reference. There's additional options here. I can, for example, change the direction of the extrude. If you can put it that way, you guys will notice I'm just selecting this line. This can obviously be anything like an angled plane or even an axis resting at a specific angle. So that's basically my primary members I've assigned. You guys will notice I've got a very unique profile tab up here, and very similar to the Weldments environment, this is where we select our specific profile or member that we are interested in. I'll be using something like a 30 by 173, and I'll say okay. So please notice, guys, I'm still in the structural system environment. I'm now going to move over to the secondary members. So as soon as I've got my primary members ready, we can now go and add some secondary members between them. So all I do is click on the secondary member feature, And again, we've got quite a couple of options concerning the type. So here we've got the plane option where I can select planes as the position to basically add them, or I can select the points. I'll be making an example of both for this afternoon. I'll start by demonstrating the plane option first. The first things first, we need to select the actual primary members. The second thing it's going to ask is the planes that's going to be basically used as reference to add the additional or secondary ones. Now you guys will notice my alignment might be a bit off, and to fix something like this is quite quick and easy. We move over to the profile side of things, and you guys will see the pierce point directory now coming active. All I need to do is basically click in this highlighted blue box, and you guys will see the software throwing me to the profile. So for this structure to be complete, we need the top of this beam to rest flush or on top of the plane. So all I do is select an additional or new point, and you guys can all see what's the effect. I've basically gone and just lined up everything quite nicely by assigning a different pierce point to the reference. So from here, guys, I'll just say okay, and you guys can see my member structure coming together quite nicely. Last but not least, I'll hit the exit button, and this is where the corner management automatically kicks in. So as I mentioned to you guys, this is basically a three-step process. First, you assign your primary members, secondly, the secondary members, and then last but not least, we just take care of some couple of corner blends. So the software does a phenomenal job in actually finding the best appropriate options for my corner blends. For this afternoon, I'll be just using the standard options, and you notice the two member, basically the profiles where two members come together are listed below. You guys can see all the options available, and this is how you can customize the actual corner blends. This is exactly how I need it, and I'll simply say okay. You guys can all see more or less, if I just show you like this, what is created. If any of you are still not really impressed, I'd just like to mention to you that I am already using two different profiles within this one feature. So that's already a step up from the normal old school way of weldment design. Like we all know it, you sketch a couple of 3D sketches and add individual profiles to it. So just to make sure you all are aware of the fact that I am using two different profiles here. So last but not least, we can obviously go and use something like circular patterns. I will make a circular pattern of this actual body. So moving over to the body side in the circular pattern, you guys will see new in 2019, they've actually added the structural system body area. And this is a unique block that basically allows me to just click on the actual structural system feature. And this saves you the time. Instead of going and selecting quite a couple of bodies, now we just simply select the structural system feature, and it takes care of so much for us already. So here you guys can clearly see what's the effect. Quite nice. This speeds up so much of your design time. And let's quickly look at creating the secondary members that will be running between them to basically finish off this grid or border. So same rule of thumb applies. I'll move over to the structural system feature. I've already assigned the primary members, so now I'll just assign a couple of secondary ones. It's as easy, guys, as literally only clicking on the members that you're going to be using as your cross-reference and selecting your planes as the other additional referencing. So just to quickly show you guys how this is done, I'm simply clicking on the planes. I hope this display is not playing with your eyes too much, but I just want to make it known to you guys, I am only clicking on the planes to host the new reference for positioning. So from here, it's as easy as either changing or updating the profile. Here, I'd like to edit the way the actual segment meets the point, and I'm going to click on the pierce point just to line up this beam with the planes as well. So I just assign a new pierce point and say, okay. As soon as I'm done with this, again, I simply exit this command and the corner management tool kicks in again. It's gone and compiled all the complex blends and corners together. And this is where we are able to leave this to SOLIDWORKS to take care of this for us. SOLIDWORKS will basically go and investigate the best possible trimming orders for each unique corner or blend. And this is why I'd like to showcase this so much, because this is going to save you so much time in something like this. Last, to finish this off, last but not least, we can also go and circular pattern. Just put that axis on. Circular pattern the rest. And like I said, guys, new in 2019 or since 2019, they've given us this lovely option to go and pattern structural system features. So no need to go click on 20 bodies. You simply select the feature and it takes care of that for us. So you guys can see, without me explaining everything in so much detail, this should maybe take you only a couple of minutes if you know what you're doing. I like to say in the training classes, guys, if you don't know what you're doing, it should take you 5 minutes. If you know what you're doing, nothing more than 2 minutes. And this is exactly what I'm on about. You guys can see what I've gone and created. And as mentioned, this is all done in one place. There's no large set of features all working together. Obviously, design intent is still important, but you've got so much automation taking place in the background. So having said all of this, guys, let's move over to the What's New 2021 Weldments features. And this is basically a section dedicated to all the new features and areas available within 2021. The first one I'd like to just touch base with, and I guess the most important one, is the new Cutlass property. And this Cutlass property is called the Cutlass IDs, which can be generated for us. So the first thing I want to make you aware of, guys, is you can generate this Cutlass IDs or unique reference IDs for each cut list in a cut list folder based on the Cutlass attributes. So where you're going to find this is under Tools, Options, Document Properties, Weldments. So this is a weldment property. You guys will notice I've tried to highlight the area where to go and activate and find it as good as possible. You need to access this and obviously put that checkbox on to have that property available within your BOM or cut list. So just to touch base with what we're going to see on the cut list within SOLIDWORKS a bit better. So each generated Cutlass ID is added in the corresponding Cutlass folder. Unique Cutlass IDs result in unique naming conventions of cut lists and are also used to index the database. So long story short, guys, I just want to make it known to you guys that there's a couple of values or expressions that we can actually use when it comes to generating our Cutlass IDs. A good thing to know, guys, is feel free to create and configure these rules or properties in your actual document templates. And what I mean with that in a nutshell is go and add these properties to your templates and actually save them out. Share that with your office so everybody can just carry on and actually use and implement this lovely Cutlass ID. I'm going to quickly jump into SOLIDWORKS and just show you guys where to find that setting or tool. And then I'm going to ask Pierre to actually jump in and join us in this webinar just to showcase what this means with inside of a PDM system, specifically looking at the BOM, guys, within PDM. So what you're going to need to do is either click on this options over here or navigate to your tools drop down, and you'll find it all the way down there. So once accessed, go to document properties, navigate to Weldments, and you guys will see if you go all the way down, there's the little checkbox. So you're going to put this checkbox on. You can either customize this. I'm going to leave it like that for now. Say OK. And when accessing the actual properties cut list, you guys will now see the new Cutlass ID being present. And this will exist for obviously every single member or directory within this cut list. I'll quickly hand over to Pierre and just ask Pierre to quickly share his screen and jump and share some context with this setting inside of a PDM system. Good afternoon, Pierre.
Hi, Raymond. How are you doing?
I'm good in yourself, sir.
Great, thank you. So I just want to quickly showcase to everyone that there's quite a few questions now coming around. Okay, we've got all of these weldment properties. But how does PDM actually manage that? So very importantly now, new in 2021 is in PDM, you can actually show all of that information. Even if the part is within an assembly, you can still show that bill of materials and we'll show all of the properties. So just to show that quickly is that like you showed now, how everyone was busy. So I'm just trying to load my SolidWorks. So if I have an example, like a staircase with weldment properties, and I've got all of my different Cutlass items, if I go and look into it, most of the clients that actually know a bit of SolidWorks and SolidWorks PDM is that you can link the variables. So it's actually a very nice feature to have. For example, this Cutlass that you showed, with this percentage sign, it's actually just a placeholder. So we can actually concatenate information directly within our Cutlass properties and then make one big Cutlass ID with all of the important information that we want to show. So in my example, I just also left it like you showed, just with the description and the material. And this will actually create this one evaluated value. And if we look at this file now in our PDM vault, from the get-go, you'll see that your data card still looks empty. But remember, this is custom properties for the part, where with the Cutlass items, that is Cutlass property. So it's actually within our parts. But if I go over to my bill of materials, I will have my options, and if I select my Weldment Cutlass, you will now notice that for that one part, I've got all of the important properties that are currently assigned to it. So I can have, for example, my quantities and the different lengths. Here you'll see, okay, I've got duplicate of the quantities, but then the Cutlass ID. So if we concatenate all of that information, it's very easy to just come in PDM and go and sort them. So when we send this now out to our Excel spreadsheet, we can easily go and filter. For the companies that maybe bend or cut their own piping, they can go and filter, put it in job files. So it's just a lot easier to now do it in PDM 2021. And then just to show, like I've mentioned, that data card that is actually empty. When you now go to the Contains tab in PDM, you can right click on any one of them and say Properties. And it will now actually go and fill in that information into your data card. But remember, that property is for that specific sheet. Or for that specific Cutlass item. So I know your webinar is for the Weldments, but just so that everyone knows and just a sneak peek for it, you can do exactly the same for sheet metal parts. So sheet metal parts will also have their own specific ones. So like this, where I have a sheet metal part, I can again go and look at the Cutlass items for it, the different materials. And in this example, maybe I've got like bounding box. So that's maybe important information in my sheet metal parts. Nice now in 2021, just to emphasize that you can show all of that information within our bill of materials directly in SolidWorks and in PDM.
Fantastic. That looks like quite a nice announcement. Thank you so much for that, Pierre.
A pleasure.
Really appreciate it.
Enjoy it further.
Thank you, sir. I'll just share my screen with you guys again. Thank you so much, Pierre. Enjoy your afternoon further. So just to take it, carry on where Pierre basically left off. As mentioned, guys, obviously cut lists come into play when we deal with weldments and sheet metal design. So please don't forget that Cutlass ID can be found under the tools, options, document properties, weldments. Go and put it on and go and check it out in your sheet metal and weldments design. Please feel free to get in touch concerning any support questions, perhaps any how-tos. We are able to assist and provide information to get you going. So to carry on with the afternoon's plan, guys, or protocol, there's a new feature within the structural system that got introduced in 2021, and it's called the graphical manipulator. What this basically means is when we have to change the angle or the resting position of a member within the structural system feature, in the past we had to select very specific points, very specific vertices, and this seldomly forced the user having to go and open the profile sketch and manually going and forcing and adding a couple of points in there, saving the profile out. It was quite a workflow and a step process just to get that in. If we look at the new manipulator in 2021, you guys will notice we simply click on the member and this little manipulator or graphical manipulator will appear. Very, very straightforward, guys. You click on the actual circle or grid, click and drag to basically change the angle or tweak or pull or any basically push and pull on any of the arrows to change that thing's position. This is quite quick and easy, guys. It really doesn't get any quicker than this. So please go and check this out. For those of you who are not on 2021, I would strongly advise install it, go and have a look. You can also install it separately, so you don't have to necessarily upgrade your 2022-21. You can install 2021 separately alongside SOLIDWORKS 2020. So let's look at some of the other goodies SOLIDWORKS threw into 2021. There's a new Cutlass length enhancement. And in a nutshell, guys, we are now able to calculate the Cutlass length of a weldment member in the Cutlass properties when running any of the following commands. And these commands include things like the use face, or the move face, or move copy body feature, and then basically extrude a cut or a hole through that feature. We can then create a part that contains multiple sketches by selecting the merge miter bodies setting or checkbox, or if you create an extruded cut or hole that modifies multiple faces across groups. In a nutshell, guys, in the past, this was quite tricky to go and measure, especially if you measure things manually. Due to all the features all working together, it's seldomly difficult to get a profile like the one we see here, true or normal or total length. I know some manufacturing offices dealing with designs like this have had to make special care or take special care when dealing with these things. Now, new in 2021, most of this is actually done for us, and it's much easier to get the total and required lengths. Please go and check it out. The last but not least, one I'd like to share with you guys this afternoon is called the end miter joints enhancement, or this just gives us a couple of more options within the trim extend weldment feature. So in the trim extend property manager, we can now basically trim the end corner miters at an angle or make them flush. And just to show you guys, in your weldments tab, if you hit this feature, you'll now notice in 2021 that there's actually these two options at the bottom. The software will automatically pick the best fit or option. And I'll quickly jump into SOLIDWORKS and show you guys what this is all about. So as mentioned, this is a new enhancement in 2021. If you deal with a specific design structure like this, please bear in mind that these pipe diameters are different, so they're not of equal size. If we move over to the weldments tab and I hit the option to trim or extend, you guys will notice it's very specific to the end miter option, and I'm busy pinging on that option there now. So this does not come into play with every type of trim extend. It's basically just got to do with that one over there. The bodies to be trimmed for this afternoon will be those two, and you guys will automatically see the software going and taking care of that blend for me. It recommends, obviously, the full flush miter. I'll quickly show you guys what the other one looks like when we deal with the equal option. So there we can think of it as cutting at a 45-degree angle, and then obviously the flush option or full flush miter looks something like that. And you guys can clearly see what the software is doing here in the background to try and line those profiles up as good as possible, even though the diameters are worlds apart. This will also save a lot of designers a lot of time. In the past, blends like this is quite complex and tricky, especially if you throw a couple of more profiles in that specific corner blend. It can just get interesting from there. But I'm sure these enhancements will just speed up your design cycles and times. Let's jump over to the PowerPoint and quickly have a look at the MeCAT training, guys. So this is basically where I'll introduce Quinton into the webinar again. Afternoon, Quinn. Oh, welcome back.